Episode 42, the Master Stashional, the recap of one of the highlights of my retriever training career, the Master National 2019 in Cheraw, South Carolina. But before we get into that, big old thank you to our sponsors. Eukanuba Sporting Dog 3020 is what feeds and fuels my kennel, my dogs, my puppies. Right now, Kevin's got a beautiful litter of 4-week-old puppies who are being weaned off of the bird girl, Birdie, and they started eating like a gruel, a mush of Eukanuba puppy, which has a lot of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that help the puppies develop, grow, and also has some stuff, I believe it's called DHA. Don't ask me what it means, but DHA, and that helps brain development for healthy, smart, intelligent pups. So pups are on Euc, big dogs are on Euc. Baby, what can Euc do for you? Numero dos, Gunner Kennels. Man, what can I say? Safety first.
You were traveling all up and down the East Coast the past few weeks.
I put
how is Quinny doing?
3,500 miles on my truck in the last month.
And how was Quinny was putting 3,500 miles on a Gunner?
Quinn was riding dirty in her Gunner Kennels. I feel like I'm spoiling her, man, because old Buck and Memphis, they got the old plastic crate. Yep, the old cheapskate Bobo plastic crate. And Quinn, she's like living high on the hog, the silver spoon in her mouth kind of dog. These Gunner Kennels are beautiful. They're well equipped. And the safety rating is what's important. We put so much into our dogs, training, love, emotion, and we want the best for them. And when you're riding down the highway, you can be, rest assured that if something bad were to happen, those dogs are going to be safe. So,
did you see the Instagram they put up recently where they did a shock test? It was like a 4,000-pound shock test of other name brand kennels that shan't be named, new word, and then also there. So it was like a compression test where they had like this big giant machine that, imagine just stepping on the kennel with a big giant machine, and it was 4,000 pounds of pressure, and each kennel disgustingly exploded as if it was a car accident, and then the Gunner kennel didn't budge an inch, baby.
Stacked. It reminds me of my old glory days playing rugby.
No.
Yes. You can ask my friend Phil Tazzi. All right? Phil Tazzi knows.
Phil Tazzi's not listening to this.
Phil Tazzi 100% is listening to this. I told him I was going to shout him out on the podcast, so I had to throw it in there. Listen, that was like my glory days. 4,000 pounds couldn't stop old Uncle Bob. Neither can a Gunner kennel. Come on. So, hey, if you like safety and you want your dogs to ride safely down the road, to and from your hunts, to and from training, to and from the office, wherever you go, and your dog's riding with you,
Coast.
Wherever your dog's riding with you, make sure they're safe because, man, accidents happen, and Gunner's got your back. So check them out. If you're interested in learning more, shoot us a message on Instagram or on our emails, and we'll get you hooked up with Gunner. Next would be Waypoint Outdoor Collective. This is the group who hosts our podcast. They've got a ton of other great outdoor podcasts and social media companies that represent their whole, quote-unquote, collective. And they're great people and help support us and keep us, in tune with you guys. So Waypoint Outdoor Collective on Instagram. Check them out. Tell them we sent you. Now, into the show. So the Master National. The Master Stashional, if you had saw or seen on Instagram, it was actually Kevin's doing. He screenshot me talking, and it got a perfect look at the stash. And let me tell you, I got a lot of razzing and busting of chops over this mustache. But it kept me sane. It kept me humble because everyone made fun of me. But it was a lot of humor, amongst the stress and excitement and nerves of the Master National. So, lo and behold, that stash will be every time I'm at a Master National, I'm going to have a mustache. It's enough
Master
said.
Stashional, baby.
It's enough said. Man, all right, let's get in from the beginning. So, Master National started October 17th in the evening. We had, well, let's back up even further. 6 or 8 months ago, my buddy Blaine, who's been on the podcast twice now, the pterodactyl, Blaine Tarnecki, the pterodactyl, we talked 6 or 8 months ago, and we're like, we're going to lay it all out on the table. We're going to stack the deck in our favor. We're going to do everything in our power to pass this thing. Whatever that means, we're going to do. Buying live birds, pheasants, whatever. We're going all in to pass this thing. So what that meant to me was going early, and I drove down to him in Georgia, and I was going to stay there like 8 or 10 days before the Master National to pre-train. So that would give my dogs in contention new water, new land, new features, the excitement of training alongside another truck and trailer, which ended up being even more beneficial because our friend Charlie came out, our friend Oliver came out, a lot of other pros, Evan, everybody came to Blaine's place to pre-train with us. So we would show up and there'd be 4 dog trucks and 6 amateurs training with us, and all of a sudden it kind of feels like a hunt test when that dog gets out of the truck because they're hearing banging and live gunfire and
that's a
duck
good point.
calls.
Yeah.
And so they're in that environment. They think they're at a hunt test because you've got so much action going on. So that was hugely beneficial. And then for my dogs at least, and I feel sort of bad that Blaine's dogs didn't get this, the new grounds, new water and new land will throw a dog off, right? Like they understand at my training grounds, every pond, every rolling hill, I've kind of been there, done that with them all year long. And so now you go to Blaine's and it's like, this looks different. Maybe I'll cheat this corner. Maybe I won't swim this whole channel. And you're really honing all those things that you've taught up at Carol's place here in New York down at Blaine's and saying, no, you're being held accountable here too. And all of a sudden it's like, if you can hear me snapping on
this is great radio.
These dogs started really showing me, like the first 2 or 3 days, the other kicker is, let me back up. First 2 or 3 days, they were out of their gourds. They had driven on a truck 1,000 miles. They were now living on a truck, which usually they aren't. They're living in the kennel facility and coming out and airing in the airing yard, and they've got their routine. Now I've totally taken them out of their routine and asking them to live on a truck. If I had driven down the night before Master National and pulled them off the truck the day of, they would have been a mess. So it allowed them to acclimate to their quote-unquote new lifestyle for the next couple of weeks, and that was super helpful too. So big shout-out to Blaine and his family for having me. That was hugely beneficial. So we do everything in our power to pass this thing. And we train from daylight till dark, and we bust our tail, and we bought a ton of live pheasants and a ton of ducks, and we're shooting flyers daily, and we're splashing birds in their... Go ahead, you've got a question?
No, I have a question for me. How did all the live birds fare?
Pause for the gulp of Bud Light. In our last podcast or the podcast before with Blaine, you heard about those pheasants, right?
Yeah, we never really got into detail about it on camera, on whatever you want to call it, but old Kevin spent a few $100 on birds.
Well, no, you bought pigeons. So the entire
which
ride,
are birds.
Yeah, but that didn't help my dogs. It only helped your dogs. So,
hey,
whatever, right? So the whole ride south, I drove through rain. Cold rain. And they were on top of my trailer, strapped down. And they were getting pelted with rain and cold wind, 70-something miles an hour, humming down the highway for 2 days because we had to stop at Mountaintop to get my trailer worked on. And so there were some casualties, okay? So every bird that dies is money out of my pocket, okay? Rest in peace for those guys who lost their lives.
Sure. They died for a good cause.
Not really. I mean, if it was nice out,
trying to make myself feel better.
So we get to Blaine's. Some of them survived. Some pigeons keep going downhill, which I was working Kevin's dog Covey and my little girl Andy on the pigeons. A lot of them didn't make it. I think the cold really, like pneumonia or whatever, they were struggling.
Bird flu?
Bird flu. Yeah, maybe I got the bird flu. So we lost some pheasants. The ducks are just rugged, man. They didn't care. So every duck survived. But I think 4 pheasants died. And by the end of my trip in Georgia, about half of those pigeons died, maybe a little less. So that's a ton of money from Kevin. That sucks for him. I probably told him like 10 until now. Whoops.
Yeah, just until now. Bob said like 1 or 2, but really that's $125 worth of pheasant or pigeons.
Yeah, whatever. The truth hurts. So, so now we're training at Blaine's, and we use up my pheasants and my ducks, and he's got a bunch of them. And our friend Oliver from Foundation Retrievers in South Carolina is training with us, and Charlie from Beaver Dam Creek Kennels, maybe? Whatever. Charlie, write in and tell us what it is. He's a good dude, man. I love Charlie.
Charlie is?
Yeah, he's awesome. So is Oliver, but I knew his kennel name, so I don't feel so bad. So we're all training together, and we're going to this hayfield like 40 minutes away from Blaine's, and Oliver and I catch 20 pheasant, and he and I lift this box of pheasants up on my top of my trailer, and it's heavy as hell. We get it up there, and we get rolling. Well, I didn't exactly picture where we were going and what we were doing, but we get on a highway fast, right? So if I knew we were going down the road, we'd have been fine, but getting on a highway going 70 miles an hour, probably should have strapped him down. Well, I didn't, so that sucker came off the trailer, and lo and behold, the pheasants didn't make it.
Those birds flew off the trailer on the highway?
Yeah, let's not get into much more detail.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, they didn't make it, and I felt really bad because that's roughly $250 in pheasants, literally out the window, that are gone. So that stunk, but luckily we bought more pheasants. I learned a very, very valuable lesson. Strap them down. When in doubt, strap it out. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But you get my point. Strap those birds down, baby. But we had phenomenal pre-training. Now, we drive to South Carolina on the 17th. That is our big inaugural dinner, of which Lone Duck Outfitters and Kennels and Lone Duck's Gun Dog Chronicles is a mini sponsor. So we got a cool little shout-out and cool little, plaque. And we give koozies to everybody that's there. There were, I think, 1,020 dogs that ended up running the test. Dogs had to scratch. I think 3,000 dogs qualified for the Master National, roughly. Well, I bought like 1,200 koozies, so I know that number at least. Yeah, they're somewhere. I don't know. I gave them away. They're in, you get handlers' bags with stuff in it. So, what's one thing that was really cool is I'm walking around to the table and saying hi to all my friends and people I've met through the years, and I walk up to my friend Trish Jagoda and Mary, and they're sitting at this table with wonderful, beautiful women. And now Mary and Trish come up here to New York and train in the summer for like 5 or 6 weeks. And during that time, I did have the mustache, and they would bust my chops, and, it was all good fun and whatever.
At least as far as you knew.
No, they loved it. They know they loved it. So now they're pulling the women at this table. Oh, because I had a little scruff, too. So it's kind of hard to see the full-blown mustache because I had some scruff.
Usually is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. It is. So they're like, oh, look at his little baby face. He should shave it all, or should he just keep the scruff? And they're all like, keep the scruff, keep the scruff. And I'm like, no, I'm shaving it for my mustache. And they were like appalled that I would have this terrible Master Stashional. Well, then this woman is like, Are you Bob from the podcast? And I'm like, yeah.
Maybe. Somebody else's?
Yeah.
I think I've done other people's.
Yeah, no, it's me. Her name was, shout out to Kim. Big shout out to Kim. She was awesome. I couldn't believe how many people actually listened to this podcast at the Master National and came up and like high-fived and enjoyed it. So thank you all who are maybe tuning in. You know, it was humbling. It was a really cool feeling that all the hard work Kevin and I put into this bad boy, that people are entertained and enjoy it, and it was pretty special. But Kim, she voted for no mustache, but, you know, we all know how that worked out. Her vote lost. I got the stash. But Kim, it was a pleasure meeting you, and she actually marshaled our first and second series.
Really?
Yeah. Marshalling is basically the person who is in charge of keeping all the handlers in line. So, like, all right, dog number 1's at the line, 2's in the holding line, 3 get ready, 4 get ready, 5 get ready. So she was shouting out and
running the show.
Nice. So super helpful. Thank you for your help, Kim. But, you know, dude, I was so nervous. Stomach was twisted.
Yep.
I was, you know, it's intense. It's a feeling that the only thing I could comprehend was like playing sports in college again. Again, shout out to Phil Tozzi, St. Bonaventure Rugby, and my buddy Andy Mack, who wears a lone duck vest all the time.
My man.
Yeah, he sent me a picture. He says usually he doesn't wear it without or he wears it in the summertime without a shirt so he can still wear it. Not a good image, everybody. Not a good image.
No.
But those guys, I mean, that's what I can equate it to, was getting ready for a big rugby game where your stomach is in knots and you're ready to go to battle, and it's intense. And now the stakes don't feel as high because there's no physical pain about to happen like in rugby, but
you're trusting.
But my career, you know, my year-long pursuit of this goal of the Master National,
for sure,
all the eyes on you, and even people on social media, like everybody was rooting us on. I didn't want to let them down, man. I felt like there was a lot of pressure. So I'm walking to the line, and she's like, "Hey, bud, you know, take a deep breath. You know, blah blah blah. It'll be all right." And so big shout out to Kim. So thank you. So after the dinner and stuff happened, I think the dogs are barking out at the kennel. Yeah, we'll keep it rolling here. Probably somebody walking by. So, so after that dinner, right, we had a blast. Well, we go back and we go to bed, and I am dog 117, and I forget what number we started on, like 32. So we started at 32, 33, 34, 35. You get the point. Now I'm 117, 122, and 127. Memphis, Cruz, Ember. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, may not know, whatever, give me the rundown on Memphis, Cruz, and Ember before we keep rocking here. Whose dogs? What kind of dog? How old?
So Memph is my dog. Hopefully you all know her. She's a black lab. She'll be 5 in December. She'll
be 5 in December?
Yeah, man. Freaking time flies. Yep.
Are you sure?
100%. 5. Yep. Don't even ask it. She's 5 years old. So,
man.
Yep. She's obviously, you have to be a master hunter to qualify for this bad boy, but she's been on fire all spring, summer, and fall, doing really, really well. She's my first dog. And even though, truthfully, she's the most steadfast of them all, that I had the most confident in passing this thing, I was the most nervous to run her because she was the first one to run. So I'm sweating. My stomach's off. I mean, I didn't have a solid bowel movement for like 12 days. It's true. Straight truth.
Honesty on this show.
Honesty is the best policy. So she's up first, and it's a land series. It's all pheasants. Let me think here. It was a triple with a blind, and the flyer was the go bird. So, first bird comes out, it's kind of a short bird. Second bird comes out, it's a little bit longer, but they're very in line, the first 2 marks.
Right.
And then the third bird was off to your right, live flyer, up a hill, past some trees and stuff. Go get it. Generally speaking, you want to go pick up that short bird, so outside middle. Long bird, pheasant flyer, short bird, and then punch up the middle for the other pheasant, kind of up a hill and stuff. And then kind of right near the holding blind for that long middle bird was your blind. So some of the dogs were winding that blind. If they couldn't find the long bird, they were winding that blind and then screwing around at the blind pole where they weren't finding a bird, but then someone would have to handle and get them off there. A lot of dogs couldn't find the flyer. A lot of dogs were going to the short bird and not finding it and bailing out to the long bird, which is a switch, and you'd fail, so they'd have to handle. We dropped like 20 or 30 dogs right off the bat, first series, and unfortunately, shout out to Blaine, and not the way he probably wants to get shout out, one of his best, most consistent, actually I think 2 of his really top dogs went out in that series, and they shouldn't have.
Really?
I mean, they were... One of them is Buck, who's his boykin. That's number 1, number 2 boykin in the country. Bad to the bone. He hasn't failed a master test in like 2 years. He's exceptional. And he winded that blind pole and couldn't get him off of there.
Man.
And then another dog he had, Easy. Man,
dog's name is Easy?
Yeah.
That's a good dog name.
Yeah.
Easy.
She just couldn't find the flyer, man. So... If you think about it, how many dogs have to run and how many flyers are getting shot, and they don't land in the same spot, so they're sent everywhere. Some land deep, some land short, some are over here, some are over there, but they're sent everywhere. So she got hung up and just lost her way, basically. And so it was like heart-wrenching. Like 2 of his best dogs aren't making it through the first series. And, Memphis truthfully hammered it. She did great. Cruz hammered it. Ember hammered it. And I'm like, holy cow, we're here. We made it through the first at least, right? Like, woo! Like, I got to the Master National. Now I'm through the first. So I'm really proud of them. It was a cool test. It was a tough test, but it was doable. I felt very confident after Memphis ran, after my nerves were done, that the other 2 could do this thing. So we do it. Second series is very similar location, just kind of cockeyed to the left a little bit where there was water. So it was like a land-water test. First bird out was a duck thrown on land, left to right. Second bird out was another duck up a hill, right to left. Third bird out was a live flyer shot 25 yards away from you. So the holding blind was really, 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 really close. They throw a duck, and they shoot the duck 25 yards away, and it splashed in the water. Think about how enticing that is. All of you, sending me messages, hey, it's duck season and my dog's breaking. Yeah. So now they're at the Master National, no e-collar, freaking jacked beyond belief, and they've got a live duck being shot 25 yards away in their face, splashing in water. It's tough. So they go get the live flyer. Now you have to know them off the other 2 marks. know. You had to walk about 10 foot over and run a water blind past the live flyer duck and past the first mark. So they got to run between those 2 marks. Pretty challenging because they're looking at places they want to go. And you have to tell them, no, back, right? So they hit this keyhole of trees, but also a keyhole between the 2 marks, go down a little hill, cross the pond, get out of the pond, and get into the woods and pick up your bird. A lot of dogs were struggling. They'd go, first of all, they were struggling trying to get off of those marks, so they really, really, really wanted the marks, and the people were having a hard time getting them to handle. But secondly, they were also having a hard time because once they hit that little bank, they'd want to bail off a certain way, and you couldn't see them. If that dog made a bad choice, you couldn't see them. and all of a sudden the people would be like, where'd the dog go? And boom, he's out in left field, and you're out.
So what would happen if you had to, like, handle the dog in that situation? Like,
Well, you're running a blind, so you can handle them.
Okay, right.
Right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the dog's going to do what you tell it to do, because it's still a dog.
Well, true, but so it can't see you, or you're trying to, like, whistle it to you so that it can see you and then send it back again and just kind of, like, cluster.
Wonderful question, Kevin. That's what your goal, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't mean it in a jerk way. I'm saying, like, that's the point. That's what makes it hard. Like, if the dog does what you tell it to do and it's doing what you've trained,
for sure,
you're going to be okay. But all the things about that test, the bird really, the other mark really close, the keyhole, the bank, the water, all that stuff is telling that dog, blow that guy off, go over here. So you're fighting those factors and the natural tendency of that dog and the control you need to get them to go, no, over here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
No,
like,
yeah.
They want to go here. No, over here.
Gotcha.
If you can do it and you can control that dog and they've got the discipline to do it, they did it. If they had it in their brain they were going to do what they wanted to do, and, I kind of want to do what Bob wants to do, but this looks more fun, you would lose sight of them, and all of a sudden they'd end up in no man's land and you were out. And it was in the blink of an eye. All of a sudden the dog would pop out somewhere they shouldn't be, and they were out. So we lost a lot of dogs on that blind. So you had to run that blind after you picked up the Go Bird, which was the live flyer, then pick up your other two marks. So they had to run a blind, then remember the other two marks, and then you had to run a land blind that was kind of, up the hill a little bit. If you got through those things, the land blind wasn't too hard. But then you had to honor. And an honor, if you don't know, means you had to sit your dog after they did the work, sit them down, and watch another dog work. And that is also where they lost a lot of dogs. I think they lost like another 30 dogs in that flight. So now we started with like 146. Now after 2 series, we're down 60 dogs. We got chopped. So, long story short, I think Memphis hammered it. Cruz hammered it. Ember needed to handle on the long middle bird. Okay. Now we honor. Cruz had a dog break while she was on the honor. And now the kicker is she has to honor another dog. So now she has to sit there, watch all the birds go and a live flyer. A dog breaks. Another dog walks up, has to do it again. So she had to watch 6 ducks go down, 2 live of them being live flyers, and sit still. It was brutal. Like, it was brutal. My heart was in my throat the entire time. Same thing happened for Ember. So both of those dogs had to watch all that happen twice. It was tough. But we made it through. Now for the third series. The third series was where we lost Cruz. It was a water triple down the shore, like a 2 down the shore and a down the shore blind. First bird comes out. It was like 95 yards on the other bank, a big open water swim with some grassy stuff in the way. Second bird comes out, thrown from a hill down the shore. Third bird comes out about 20 yards away, huge arc, splashes in the dog's face. So again, they've got to be steady. Go get the short bird, punch out to the long bird. Remember, outside, middle. Get the short bird, punch out to that long bird, and then pick up your down the shore bird. Now, a lot of dogs, including Cruz and Ember, their natural instinct is to get out early. They don't want to drive all the way across. They want to get out early and hunt the bank and find it. Well, Cruz made a bad life choice. Cruz got out early, started hunting the down the shore bird, and then couldn't find it right away, so she bailed out and went to the long bird. That is what's called a switch. and I can't allow a switch or else she's an automatic fail. So I stopped her, handled her to the bird that she showed she wanted to do. We picked it up. She came back. Now we got to go for that long bird again. After she just kind of sucked. And she did the same mistake. So she had to handle twice in one series. She's out. Well, now I'm thinking to myself, what do we do? Right? Like, Ember, she's young. She's 2.5. What do we do? And Blaine and I'm literally grabbing Ember right now, and he's grabbing one of his dogs, and he goes, after seeing that, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to handle that dog to the long bird. Because the rest of the marks in the blind are, quote-unquote, easy if you can get that out of the way. I'm like, all right.
So there's a lot of strategy in this. It isn't just like line up the dog like I don't know, like you normally would in a training day and like, all right, get after it, go get that bird. I would assume the dog is going to screw up here, and it is better for me to think ahead and know the dog and handle here rather than wait to see what happens. Like, there's some strategy involved.
Right? Yeah, great point. So the whole time we're running dogs and watching dogs work, all of us, all the trainers, all the amateurs, we're all sitting there watching dogs make mistakes and succeed. Why did they succeed? Why did they fail? What is going on, and how do they do it right? How do they do it wrong? How can we save our dogs if they fall to that factor? So it was like a real collective team effort at times to build success. So let me think. So then now it's Ember's turn, and she does kind of the same thing. They all hit this like little grassy patch, and they bounced off the grassy patch and started to get out early. So instead of her doing what Cruz did, I handled her, and then she crushed the rest of the test. So now she's going to the 4th. If I had done that with Cruz, and I thought Cruz was going to make she made a bad choice, but I didn't think it was going to kill her. If she had went early and picked that bird up correctly instead of switching or attempting to switch, we would have kept playing. But it was too many mistakes that equaled one big mistake instead of just one mini mistake, and then fumble through the rest and keep playing. Does that make sense? So if Cruz had got out early and found the bird that she was looking for, we would have kept playing. But because she got out early, couldn't find that one, and then went to look for the other, and I had to handle it, forced my hand, and I didn't have a choice. And then she would have had to be perfect on the second time. So instead of allowing Ember to possibly make that mistake, I didn't let her. Okay, you go here. I told you to go here. Boom. Picked it up. Beautiful. And then hammered the rest. 4th series. What do we do in the 4th? 5th series. 4th series was a land test. They called it like in the woods, if you will, in the pines. And it was like, we've lost a ton of dogs now. We are the flight who's lost the most dogs to this point. I think we were down to like 70 dogs by the 4th series, and everybody else had like 100. So we were moving faster than everyone else, and we were chopping dogs up. So it's awesome that Memphis and Ember are in it still, because so many great, talented dogs and people are out. So we're down from 146 to, let's say, 80 to be conservative, going to the 4th. So we got put into this land test that wasn't very hard. First bird was thrown right to left in the woods. Second bird was left to right in the woods, short, very close. And the third bird was a pheasant live flyer way out up a hill. Memphis hammers it. Ember sort of hammers it. She picks up 2 birds, great, and then overruns the real short bird, and I needed to handle her again. So this is the 3rd handle I've had. And now we need to be perfect for the rest of the time.
So I have a question. When we're when you're doing your different series, does a mistake transfer from one series to the next? Like, for instance,
Absolutely.
so it's a holistic 6 series.
Yeah.
How did it do? It isn't like
cumulative.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, you
No
don't
way.
get a clean slate the next series.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, good question.
Who keeps track of that? That job must suck.
The judges.
That.
Two judges keep track of that. So, and the other kicker is we didn't know if 3 handles was going to pass you at the Master National. We were like, we're screwed. We're not going to get called back because Blaine had a dog with 3 handles as well, Creek. And
Also a good dog name.
that is a good dog name.
Creek.
Shout out to Creek, who ended up getting a plate. So, big shout out to Creek.
Get you some.
So she had handled 3 times, but there were 0 sloppy handles out of Ember. Every time I blew the whistle, she sat. Every time I told her to go somewhere, she went there. It was very clean, and I think that also helped her. If she was like blowing me off, and not if, 100% she would have failed if she was blowing me off and not listening and screwing around. It's because she was controlled. Even though she made mistakes, they were quick, clean, fixable mistakes. So we had 3 handles. Now for the 5th and 6th series, we have to be perfect. So my heart's in my throat, dude. I mean, seriously sick to my stomach. Now Memphis is clean as a whistle. All these series, she's stepping on marks, hammering blinds. Ember, every mark she goes for, she's stepping on except for that one. And then the blinds are really good. 5th series, we go to this place called Larry's Pond. My man Larry. First bird is a live flyer, which, side note, I shot for 4 hours one day. I did a little Instagramming while I'm doing it. I didn't miss a bird, baby. That over-under, the old Satori, smacked live flyers.
Really?
It was so much fun.
Were they at the end of your muzzle?
Oh, basically. Yeah, basically. So you set the dog up.
Point blank's not impressive then.
Yeah, okay. You should have seen some of the people missing and
Really?
taking 6, boom, 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 duck goes down. It was like, wing that baby. Pow! So it was really fun. I enjoyed that, and it was a nice way to like give back some time to the club.
Oh,
and,
absolutely, man. That's
everybody,
really cool.
many hands make light work, so we all pitched in,
That's
picking
cool.
things up, taking things down, picking up trash, all that stuff. So anyways, we're at Larry's Pond, and we've got a live flyer. Boom, comes out. Second bird, no.
Before you even move on, we had a really good question of,
Sure.
and I believe this happened to you. What happens if the shooter misses? So let's say that you hadn't bagged
you're right,
each
dude.
one.
It did happen to me. It happened to Ember.
Yeah. So
In the first
what
series.
happens?
So that's called a no bird. And a no bird means your dog has to go back 3 dogs. So they get all excited in the holding blind, all the crap that goes on to getting them from your truck to the line. They sit down, they watch all the stuff happens, and maybe a bird comes out of the winger wrong, or maybe the guys shooting miss. Side note, again, didn't happen while I was on duty, okay? Maybe they miss. Anything can happen where they'll call a no bird. Or maybe, again, like Cruz and Ember in the 2nd series, dogs were breaking, so they had to redo that whole thing again. So if you get a no bird at the Master National, you go back 3 dogs, get back in line, and run it again. If it happened again, you go back 6 dogs, run it again. If it happens to you a 3rd time, if you get 3 no birds in a row, you go to the end of the line. So, like, let's say your dog 7, no bird, no bird, no bird. You go to the end of the line. So now you're, out of 146, you're now, right, you're last. And that happened twice. So there are 2 dudes. Yeah. Actually, one of the guys, no, 2 or 3. Maybe 3, because I think Bob Tebbins, who's a longtime Lone Duck supporter, big shout out to Bob and his wife. Andrew, who was running Ember's dad. It wasn't Ember's dad that got the no bird situation, but it was another dog of his and another guy. God, I can't think of his name, but I can picture him, and he's from Texas. He was super cool, too. I think 3 of those dudes got 3 no birds in a row and had to go back all the way to the end. So that sucks. Anyways, I forget where I was going with it. So, 5th series, it's a water, land setup. 3 marks go down. One of them's a live flyer up a hill.
And you have 2 dogs in this.
Yep, Memphis and Ember. Go Bird is across the pond. Go and get it.
Can you, real quick, Go Bird is
like the last bird down.
Yep.
So, boom, 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 go get it. That's your Go Bird. So the first bird, now I remember. First bird was the live flyer on the hill. Second bird was a big splash bird close. So another breaking bird like 30 yards away.
Right.
And then a long bird across the pond. Go get that one. Go get your live flyer. Come back and check down and pick up that short bird along the edge of the water. 2 blinds. And you had to run the water blind first. And it wasn't super hard, actually. It was across the pond, through a keyhole in the bank, and up a hill and pick it up. Which, after 100 dogs run, you kick them loose, and they hit that channel of mud that all the dogs hit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so once you get them there, they're like, oh, look at this little pathway.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then tweet, boom, bird. So, not every dog did it great, but, if you kind of got them to that little muddy spot,
yeah,
they'd shoot right up the hill.
Nice. Then
they had to run a really short dinky blind, but it also showed a lot of control because it was right near one of the old falls. So you had to, even though it was short and sweet, they could get weird on you. And then you had to honor again. And that honor was 20 yards away from the live flyer. It was, you could, lob a baseball and hit the guys. It was super close. So you've got all this excitement built up, and boy, Kevin put down 2 tall boys. He's looking for another beer. Good for you, bud. So, anyway, so Memphis does that great. And now, remember, everybody, Ember has to be clean. She cannot handle on a mark, and she has to have good blinds. She's had good blinds this whole time, but, we can't have a screw-up. She has to step on every mark. So I'm I wasn't kidding earlier when I said I was just no solid bowel movements. I wanted to throw up. It was, I can't even describe the feeling. Anxiousness, nervousness, stress, fear, excitement, petrified, holding my breath as all those birds are going down. Just hold your breath. The judge lets you go, and you say their name, and they go, and it's okay. It's not up to me anymore. I hope you saw those. I hope you remember those. I'm going to take my time and line you up, but it's up to her now to remember the marks. And here she goes. Whap. Second bird. Live flyer. Whap. Short bird. Watched a lot of dogs run past it. I've watched a lot of dogs screw this up. Whap. And I'm oh my God, okay, whew, here we go. Oh, God, now we can run blinds. I know that she can do these blinds. But I literally, the whole time she was marking, was holding my breath. Please, girl, watch these. Please remember these. You can do these. They're not that hard, but in the heat of the moment, they're hard. And there's a lot that can go wrong, and a lot of wind or old scent or drag back. There's a lot that can go wrong. So she ran those blinds great. Now we're going to the 6, baby.
Woo! Woo! How much? We almost need to take a step back out of that one. So each day was roughly one series, right? Because I feel like when you and I would talk, it'd be
really.
I don't know
close.
if I'm going later. It was kind of
exactly.
ambiguous about when you were going, when you weren't going.
Sure. For instance, in the 6th series, judging by the time, you kind of estimate the test. All right, this is a 8.5-minute test on average. So you watch 6 dogs go, and you time all 6, divide by 6, and it's 8.5 minutes per dog, right?
Right. Wow. How much of a headache did you have doing all that math?
Oh, other people told me about it. I didn't even know how to do it. Yeah.
Smart.
Thanks, Kev. But again, all kidding aside, we all estimate, okay, it's a 7-minute test, it's a 6-minute test, it's a 4-minute test, it's a 12-minute test. And then you can say, okay, there's 14 dogs till me. That's, do the math. I can't, but
X.
73 minutes till I run.
Yeah.
Or there's 3 dogs left, and they're 10-minute tests. That's 30 minutes. Well, shoot, the dog that just ran got a no bird. So now it's 20 minutes. Oh, shoot, that dog broke. Oh, shoot, I better go get my dog and air him.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff actually happens.
It can go quick.
Real quick when you are thinking you got 30 minutes. So, long story short, we make it to the 6th series. Memphis is now, and I don't mean to just put this whole podcast on Ember, because Memphis was exceptional. She stepped on every bird. She crushed the blinds. She was the dog amongst dogs. I was so proud of her. But a lot of eggs were in my Ember basket because she's Jack's dog. She's my good buddy and client of years, and I raised her for Jack. And he's believed in me from the beginning.
Beginning of Lone Dog.
Yeah. Yes.
Really? Yeah.
Ember's quote-unquote sister, not by blood, but, Jack's first dog was one of the first dogs. She was the first gun dog that came to me when I moved home.
Really?
Yep.
First.
First. So my
No
first
way.
gun dog client in New York was Katie. Jack believed in me from the start. And I wanted nothing more than to give him this. And anyways, but she's on the bubble, man. She's like, if she makes one mistake, we're out. And she's been great. But one little mistake, and we're toast. Our Master National Dreams for Ember are a bust. So, 6th series. We're still at Larry's Pond, but we go to a different corner. First bird out. You sit down, and you're on the edge of a bank, and kaboom. About 10 yards away, a bird comes out of the woods, high, huge arc, and splashes in the dog's face. Breaking bird. They better sit still. After 5 other series of breaking birds and the nerves and everything going on and no e-collars and no, you got to sit. So, boom, bird goes out. Second bird out is maybe 70 yards away, if that. Splashes in a bunch of cattail, or not cattails, lily pads. From the woods, thrown at you into lily pads amongst a bunch of decoys, kind of down the shore. Third bird is probably 110 yards away, shot from the woods up a hill. So now they got to, and it's in line with the short bird. So they either pick up that short bird and then the lily pad bird and then have to punt, cut a corner, don't cheat, and pick up that long bird, or they skip that short bird. Yeah. Now they're thinking about that. Now their mind's on something else. It affects the long bird. Like, we saw a lot of weird stuff happen, but
there's a lot of mental stress on you and assuming but how do I think my dog's brain is going to work when reading this?
Yes. If they do this, what do I do? If they do that, what do I do? If they do this and this, okay, I'm going to play it like this.
So how much
you're on, man? You're freaking just firing on all cylinders. Again, that's why your nerves are so on edge, because 10 different scenarios are running through your head of, well, sometimes she'll do this in this scenario. Well, I know she's been taught to do this. I never once thought my dogs were going to cheat that bank, but I 100% thought they were going to pick up that short bird. 100%. They literally would have to swim a foot from a belly up mallard to go punch and get that long bird. But if they picked up that long bird first, the rest was kind of quote unquote easy. Truthfully, I don't remember what Memphis did. No, I do. She picked up the short bird first. She did. Then she picked up the lily pad bird, and then we punched up, and she picked that one up clean. And then it was a down the shore blind, and she, I think, one whistled it. I mean, she was on fire. I'm bragging now. I don't care. Screw you all. I'm bragging. Memphis crushed it. But here's the point where it's humble. Right. No, I know. But here's the humble part. I didn't even celebrate that she passed. I was so nervous for Ember that it didn't even register that my dog passed the Master National, because the next thing, as soon as I got off the line, was like, all right, here we go. Let's go get Ember. It's go time. She's got to run tonight. We're down to the wire with sunlight. I had to air her. I'm watching Blaine out of the corner of my eye while I'm airing Ember, making sure Blaine does well.
Yeah.
I didn't even register. Like,
yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't expect you to do so, because I don't know, man. Like, we talk about this all the time of, like, how much, like, grind is there to get what needs to be done, and you put in, like, 14, 15-hour days, 6 days a week. I mean, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. So to be like, I need to almost compartmentalize, like...
That's a good word. That's exactly what I did.
Right? Like,
the emotion.
First off, that's a $5 word. But secondly, like, that's... I don't know. Like, that's what you got to do. We're here for business.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, we're here for fun, too.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
right.
You got a job to do.
Yeah.
We got to get Ember through this, too.
Yeah.
We're not done.
Right. And so I didn't even fathom. It just didn't hit me. Right? Like, everything that I had hoped for and worked for didn't even hit me that my dog stepped on every mark and crushed the blinds. Like, she was one of the best in our flight, and it just was what it was. She was phenomenal. Didn't even resonate, because the next thing on my plate was Ember and Jack's dog, and
got more work to do.
So anyways, I go, she's not up. They call it. I literally have her in the holding blind ready to run, and the judges turn around and go, sorry, Bob, put your dog away. We're going to call it for the day. And I'm like, let me go throw up, please. I'm going to go vomit in the freaking woods, because, I'm no joke. I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
Go puke. So now I still don't even get to celebrate Memphis, because tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning, I'm getting up, taking care of dogs, and it's like, go time again. Here goes Ember.
Right.
No solid bowel movements for another day. No celebrations here.
That's a good diet, though.
Yeah. I'm sure I lost weight. So we go back that night, and I take some time with Ember that night, and I do a little obedience, because there's a big breaking bird, and I just kind of like, there were times where I'm just like petting the two of them, and I'm like, please just do this. Like, you guys are so good. Please just do this. Like, I want this so bad for them and us and Jack and all the people, our fam, like my parents, my girlfriend, you, everybody sacrifices. And if you listen to the podcast before with Blaine, we sacrifice a lot. And the culmination of what this moment was made it worth it. And so I walked to the line the next morning. It's freaking cold, shitty, foggy. The sun it ended up burning the fog off by the time we ran, but it's like, it's freaking cold. Is she going to want to do this long stuff? What's going to happen? Is the wind right? Is the sun going to blind her on one of these marks? Like, 800 things are going through my head. She freaking did it right. The long bird is the go bird. She swam past the short bird like a good dog, picked up the long bird. I'm like, damn. All right. Swam out to the lily pads, stepped on that bird. And now I'm tearing up. And I'm probably going to tear up right now. Swam to the lily pad bird. And now we got a freaking belly up mallard drake. 10 yards away. And that's the only thing, besides a blind, which I knew she would do fine on. All she got to do is go pick that up. Picks it up, and I start choking up. Heel her, sit her down, and I kick her loose for a down the shore, kind of no-brainer blind. And I think she like one or two whistled it. And I mean, I'm legit crying, because I didn't even get to think about Memphis. I didn't get to feel emotions, because I was so focused on this, that she picked that bird up, and I turned around the judges, and I thanked them, and I'm starting to tear up, and I'm thinking about Jack, and I'm thinking about Ember, and she ended up being one of 5 Chesapeakes to pass a Master National. Out of 406 dogs, she was one of 5. She was the youngest Chesapeake to pass a Master National. Jax believed in me from the beginning. Memphis is a phenomenal dog. She would have done 10 more series perfect. That's the type of dog she is. She could have made a mistake. She didn't. She did great. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of us, her and I as a team. But the emotion, the nerves, the pride, it all came through with that last bird that Ember picked up. And it was like, dude, it was overwhelming. Blaine was right behind me. I gave him a hug. I'm tearing up. He's tearing up. My friend Jim Elam, who's, I don't want to shout out his age, but 65. I'm going to go conservative here and say 65 for old Jim. He gave me a high five, and he's like, I'm proud of you. We were there, all of us trainers and amateurs and all the guys, men, women. We were a team. Trish, my friend Trish and Mary. Mary was the head person for our flight. Like, they're tearing up. It was something I cannot describe. 10 days. It ended up being almost a month of my life. Pre-training with Blaine. 2.5 years of Ember. Almost 5 years with Memphis, raising them both. Late nights, early mornings, days I didn't want to do it, days I did want to do it, the people I've met along the way, all the friends at the Master National that I got to see. I mean, there are people that follow on Instagram I'd never met. Richard from Louisiana, I'm sitting there, get to hang out with him. Jake, I got to meet him. There's people I hadn't met, but I know through Instagram and know through this podcast that I got to shake hands with and hug and say hi and follow along and text. And we did it. We made it. 2 out of 3 of my dogs completed the 2019 Master National. Sweet mustache, by the way, in tow. And it was, I'll be back. I'll do it again next year. I'll take that roller coaster. I'll take those loose bowels. I'll take wanting to throw up. I'll take all of it to feel that feeling again. And my hope is I don't lose that feeling, right? Like crying, tearing up, and feeling that sense of relief, that sense of pride, that excitement, that my nerves could rest. All everything that I just described. I probably rambled like a son of a gun. All those feelings I would do all over again in a heartbeat. But what I hope I don't lose is that feeling. I hope I don't lose what I felt in the camaraderie with all those people and the feeling about the dogs and the effort that I put in. I hope I never lose that. It was a really, really, really special time. And that is the Master Stashional 2019. So we got 2 dogs through, 406 dogs passed. I think there were 85 Hall of Fame dogs.
Really?
So Hall of Fame dogs means you pass a Master National 3 times, and you're a Hall of Famer. Half of those didn't make it. So out of 85 dogs, only half got through this one. A lot of phenomenal trainers lost dogs. A lot of phenomenal dogs were lost. A lot of people who put just as much energy into it as I do didn't make it. And I'm really, 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 really proud that we did. Maybe there's an ounce of luck. Maybe there's an ounce of whatever. But we did what we had to do. And 8 months ago, Blaine and I sat down and said, we're going to put everything on the table and we're going to pass this thing. We're going to show up and we're going to do it. And we did. So, I don't know. What do you got, Kev? Give me a second to take a breath. That was, that's a good recount. I feel really kind of emotionally drained from that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. I have purposefully not asked for the rundown. So this is honestly like the first time, as much as you and I talk and chat, and I always ask like how the dog's doing, what's going on. Like, I haven't asked how to go.
Yeah.
As wild as that seems. And so that was a roller coaster for me as well.
Yeah.
To be completely honest. But
it was an unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
It's
Unreal.
a high level event.
It's a countrywide thing. It's a Master National. I know it's a Stashional. Thank you.
Stashional.
I don't think I got enough recognition for Master Stashional.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, if I do say so myself. But it needs to be an annual thing.
Oh yeah, I'll always have a Master
if other
National
people
stash.
if other people don't like
Get on
climb
board.
on to that one,
Well, think about
that's on them.
Let's think about the NHL where they're playoff beards and all.
Thank
that
you
stuff.
very much.
I got the
Playoff
Master Stashional.
Thank you.
Let's go. Anybody who
Done.
listens and wants to stash with me on the Master National 2020 tour, let's go. So, anyways,
we had a few good questions
All right,
come
go
through though. What types of dogs were running? You had mentioned that Ember was one of a few to actually pass. It was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. Eric, if you're still following along, had a great question. Did any German Shorthair Pointers or other versatile dogs type of dogs run? Like, what was kind of like the go-to? Was it just kind of like a typical black lab?
Yep. No German Shorthairs or any of the versatile breeds ran. They are technically not recognized in the AKC Retriever hunt tests. If I remember correctly, they can run it, and they can run for a title, but not like ours do, like a retriever. They can maybe get like a, I don't know, it's a separate thing. It's just separate. So don't quote me on this. You're going to have to Google this yourself. But no pointers were running the Master National. There were a few poodles, and I believe one got through. I don't know if any Boykins got through. Blaine had one of them, and I want to say there were like 2 or 3 others.
No way.
I'm pretty sure he trained them all. But like, I don't know. We'll have to go back and get back to people. But curly coats, flat coats, I know that there were a few of each, but it's mainly Labradors, Golden Retrievers, Chesapeakes, but even like, let's say 20 Chesapeakes. Wow. And only 5 passed. And out of 1,000 dogs, 1,020 dogs, maybe 20 Chessies, maybe 5 flat coats, maybe 50 Golden Retrievers. Like, it's strong Labradors, and for Ember to be one of 5 Chessies to pass and the youngest, what an accomplishment for her. I mean, shoot, I feel like I didn't do anything. She did it. I'm proud of her.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What did Jack say?
Jack was fired up, man. She actually, another shout out to old Ember. She just won the pheasant field trial in Connecticut. Yeah. Previously held by my dog, Old Buck.
No way.
Yeah, dude. So
tell that story.
So 4 years ago or
yeah, it was a little ways back.
Well, Ember's only 2.5, so maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long
Ember
ago.
was like 6 months old because she won the puppy division.
Yeah.
So Buck, I show up. I've got a dog truck and trailer, and I show up with Jack's 2 dogs, Katie and Ember, and Buck. I think that he's the only one I ran, and it was like $25 to enter. 1 pheasant is placed in this field, and you have to show obedience. You have to show a dog that can quarter a field. They have to find the bird in,
It was like a reasonable...
Yeah, a reasonable rate. Like, they can't just wander around the field and walk by the bird 6 times. Like, you got to comb the field intelligently and find the bird intelligently, hunt it intelligently, flush the bird intelligently, shoot. You as the handler has to shoot the bird. The dog has to retrieve the bird to hand, sit, heel, whatever. Bonus points for sitting on the flush.
For sure. Real quick, before we even move any further, Did you know that this was happening?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway.
But you didn't like plan for this. This wasn't
with me and Buck. You mean?
No.
With Ember. What
Like you didn't go down there to be like, oh, let's go run in this pheasant thing.
Who, with me and Buck?
Yeah,
absolutely.
You
100%.
did? I thought it was like,
yeah.
we're here hanging out with Jack, and it was like,
no.
Oh, this
I
makes it
knew
way
me and
less
old
cool
Buck.
then.
No, me and old Buck, we're gonna win this. I'm gonna show all these yuppie Connecticut folk what we do. So we show up. I got a dog truck and trailer, and Buck does his thing. I mean, we go on a little pheasant hunt. He puts up a bird. I shoot it, and he goes and gets it and brings it back to me. No brainer.
He thought it was nothing.
Yeah, we've literally done it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Katie ran the under 3-year-old and the open. So Buck was like 6 or 7 at the time. So he ran the open. Katie ran the derby and the open. And then Ember ran the puppy. So we cleaned house. Buck got this massive trophy. Jack got, I think, first place in the derby with Katie, and Ember won the puppy. And they literally told him, like, you can't bring that guy back, and you need to, like, enter your dogs in higher stakes because they're too good. Because everybody else was complaining that Jack paid some guy to train his dog, and they clean sweeped us. You know, they all complained. Well, hey, listen, if you want, a bad to the bone pheasant dog, you call Uncle Bob. But anyways, so
that's one of my favorite stories, though.
Yeah, we cleaned house. So I left.
It was like,
it's like
first place, Jack P. Come on up and grab your what was it, like a bag of dog food and a small little thing, and then it was like second place. Jack, you might as well just stand here. And then the puppy thing, Jack again.
Yep. No, we clean swept that pig. So this year, he picked her up on Tuesday or Wednesday. Long story short, the trial was on Saturday, and he texted me. He goes, "We got first and third, baby, in the open." Ember got first, so she walked away from the Master National. She hasn't pheasant hunted a field in a year. Walked in, quartered the field, flushed the bird, retrieved the bird, just like she's supposed to. So she not only passed a Master Stashional, but she also is 2019 East Glastonbury's Pheasant Dog of the Year, baby.